So in this short clip, I'm going to address 3 don'ts with regard to how you go through UWorld. We could make this the 10 don'ts or 10 things you shouldn't do going through UWorld, but how about we just stay concise, okay? So 3 don'ts, 3 things you shouldn't do when going through UWorld. Number 1, don't neglect any explanations. Even if you feel like certain questions are redundant, let's say it's a calcium vitamin D question, you say, I already know this concept, I've seen it a million times, I feel fine already, you're scoring pretty well. Don't skip over explanations. At the bare fucking minimum, have your eyes just see the text, do a 60-second cursory read, okay? Don't skip over any explanations. That's not a permission slip for spending all day on explanations, okay? At the opposite end of the spectrum, we still want you getting through a minimum of 40 to 80 questions per day, but the first point is don't skip over any explanations. You want your scores to go up, you got to read the explanations, even for the ones you feel comfortable with already. The second point is don't get overly emotional about your day-to-day fluctuations in the QBank in the positive direction as well. If you want to not get so down, depressed, dejected about a shitty block you have on a given day, you have to keep yourself in check and not get high on your own supply when you have a very good day, okay? Don't get overly invested emotionally into your day-to-day fluctuations. It's probably a good idea to look at your last 500 questions, okay, or your last 10 blocks, 400 questions, and say, okay, my last 10 blocks were a higher percentage overall than the prior 10 blocks without getting overly depressed when you have a shitty day. Because that's my observation with some students is that they can have a few shitty blocks and then that psychologically can impede them from just getting through the QBank the way they need to, okay? The third don't is not doing UWorld too close up to your exam. Now, this is a lengthy discussion. We could make a 45-minute video on this point in and of itself. I've made lots of content on this, but I have talked about how the real USMLE and the NBMEs are exactly the same. It's not my opinion. It's not subjective. Okay, it's not speculation. The questions on the real USMLE are the same exact questions as the NBME exams. So your final month needs to be memorizing NBMEs 20 through 30 for step 1. For step 2, 6 through 11, as well as the Clinical Mastery Series forms, all the NBME subject-specific forms. The repeats are everywhere. If you do NBMEs offline 1 through 19 for step 1, you'll see repeats all over 20 through 30, and then you'll see repeats on the real deal. Students will have secondary questions as far as, well, how many repeats am I going to have? Is it really worth my time to have e.g. 3, 5, 7 repeats? My response is, if you know repeats are going to show up, why wouldn't you fucking study the NBME questions? And then the other point is, irrespective of the exact number of repeats, recognize that your mental calibration to answer the NBME questions will help you with your gut instincts on the real deal regarding questions you're not sure about, okay? If you memorize all of NBMEs 20 through 30, you get a question on the real deal you're not sure about, somewhere in your pre-conscious, you're just going to say, I feel like it's B because on NBME 22, there was a similar question and it was this answer. See what I'm getting at? So what you're going to do is you're not going to focus on UWorld too close to your real exam, okay? You're going to focus on the NBMEs. Long discussion. You're not going to get overly emotional about your day-to-day fluctuations, and you're going to make sure that you read the explanations for every question, even if very cursory. You know the deal. I'm going to continue to make more content. If you like my stuff, subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate your time. That's it.